I sat inside my car without starting the engine. My hands refused to stop shaking. The flowers rested on the passenger seat beside the unopened chocolate and the small jewelry box. I stared through the windshield and whispered, "How long?" No answer came. Instead, another question filled my mind. How many times have they laughed behind my back? I leaned my head against the steering wheel and closed my eyes. One memory appeared. Olivia had canceled our anniversary dinner. "I'm sorry," she had said. An important client meeting came up. I had smiled. "It's okay. Work happens." Another memory followed. She had walked into the backyard while talking on her phone. When I stepped outside, she quickly ended the call. "Who was that?" I had asked. "Just a coworker." I had believed her. Then came another memory. She had started locking her phone. "I've been reading about online privacy," she had explained. Again, I believed her. Every excuse suddenly fit together like pieces of a terrible puzzle. I grabbed my phone and searched for only one name. Daniel. He answered almost immediately. "Ethan, aren't you overseas?" "I came home early." "You sound strange." "What's wrong?" My voice cracked. "I need you. I'm coming." "Stay where you are." 20 minutes later, Daniel parked beside me. He opened my car door, looked at my face, and quietly asked, "What happened?" I couldn't answer. Instead, I handed him the crushed flowers. He frowned. "Ethan, I saw Olivia." "Okay." She wasn't alone. His expression changed instantly. "Who?" "Ryan." He stayed silent. Finally, he asked, "Are you sure?" I watched them celebrate together. He lowered his eyes. I was afraid of this. I stared at him. "What do you mean?" He sighed heavily. "I noticed little things over the past few months." "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because I had no proof." "What things?" "I saw Ryan's car near your neighborhood twice." My heart sank. I thought maybe he was visiting someone else. I swallowed hard. "What else?" "I bumped into Olivia downtown. She told me she was shopping with her sister." Daniel shook his head. "She wasn't." "Who was she with?" He answered carefully. "A man wearing sunglasses." I already knew. "It was Ryan." Daniel nodded slowly. "I'm sorry." I cover my face with both hands. "I feel stupid." "No." I ignored everything. "You trusted your wife." "I trusted the wrong person." Daniel looked straight at me. "Listen carefully." "I'm listening." "Don't walk back into that house tonight." "I want answers." "You deserve answers." "I want to confront them." "And they'll lie." I stayed quiet. "They'll delete messages." I nodded. "They'll make excuses." "I know." "They'll blame emotions." "I know." He leaned closer. "So don't give him the chance." I looked at him. "What should I do?" "We collect facts." "I don't want revenge." "I'm not talking about revenge." "What then?" "I'm talking about truth." His words settled my racing mind. For the first time since leaving my house, I took a deep breath. Daniel continued, "If this has been happening for months, evidence exists. What if I find something worse?" "You probably will." "I don't know if I can handle it." "You already handled the hardest part." "What was that?" "You saw the truth." Silence filled the car. Finally, I unlocked my phone. I still have access to our shared cloud account. Daniel nodded. "Start there." Within minutes, old receipts appeared. Hotel bookings, restaurant payments, gift purchases. None included my name. My stomach twisted. Then I found deleted calendar entries labeled only with initials. RB, Ryan Brooks. Daniel whispered, "Keep going." I opened another folder. Photos. Most were innocent. Then I found one hidden album. Ryan and Olivia stood beside a lake. They were holding hands. The date froze my blood. It had been taken the same weekend Olivia told me she was visiting her mother. I closed my eyes. I never knew the woman I married. Daniel placed his hand on my shoulder. "No." I wiped away my tears, straightened my back, and quietly replied, "But from this moment forward, I intend to learn the whole truth." For the next several days, I acted like nothing had happened. Every smile I gave Olivia felt like lifting a mountain, but I refused to reveal what I knew before I had the complete truth. The morning after I came home, she greeted me with a bright smile. "Good morning." "Morning. I missed you." "I was only gone a week." She laughed softly. It still felt longer. I forced a small smile. She placed a plate in front of me. "I made your favorite breakfast." "Thanks." "How was the trip?" "It went well." "I'm glad." Every word sounded perfect. Every word felt fake. She reached across the table and squeezed my hand. "I'm happy you're home." I looked into her eyes and wondered how someone could lie so naturally. "I missed you too," I answered. The words tasted bitter. After she left for work, I opened my laptop. Daniel had already helped me recover deleted files from our shared cloud account. "Let's see what you've been hiding," I whispered. The first folder contained hotel reservations. Different cities. Different weekends. Every booking matched a time when Olivia had claimed she was attending business conferences or visiting family. I opened another folder. Deleted text messages. Most had been erased from her phone, but cloud backups still held copies. Ryan had written, "Last night was perfect." Olivia replied, "I wish I didn't have to leave." Another message read, "He's starting to ask questions." Ryan answered, "Just keep smiling." My hands tightened into fists. I kept reading. "I hate pretending. It won't be forever. I deserve better. So do I." I closed my eyes for a moment. Then I opened our joint banking records. Several transfers had been made over the past year. Small amounts, never enough to attract attention. Every payment went to an account I didn't recognize. Daniel had already searched it. The account belonged to Ryan. "So I paid for my own betrayal," I whispered. That realization hurt more than I expected. Later that evening, Olivia returned home carrying groceries. Hi. I bought your favorite ice cream." "You didn't have to." "I wanted to." She smiled warmly. "We should watch a movie tonight." "Sure." "You seem quiet." "I'm just tired." "You've been working too hard." If only she knew. The next afternoon, I followed her after she left the house. She drove to a small cafe on the edge of town. Ryan arrived 10 minutes later. I stayed far enough away to avoid being seen. Their conversation was impossible to hear from outside. But when they left together, they walked toward a nearby park. I quietly followed. Hidden behind several trees, I finally heard their voices. Ryan laughed. "How much longer?" Olivia sighed. "I don't know. You're still living with him." "I have to." "Why?" She looked around before answering. "Because divorce right now would destroy me financially." Ryan folded his arms. "So that's the only reason?" "Of course." "What about love?" She shook her head. "I stopped loving Ethan a long time ago." My chest tightened. Ryan smiled. "Then leave." "I will." "When?" "As soon as everything is secure." "You mean the house?" "And the savings." Ryan chuckled. Poor guy. Olivia didn't defend me. Instead, she laughed with him. "I know." I stood frozen. The kiss had broken my heart. Those words broke something deeper. For months, I had blamed myself. Maybe I worked too much. Maybe I wasn't romantic enough. Maybe I missed signs because I wasn't paying attention. Now I finally understood. None of those things had destroyed my marriage. Dishonesty had. Greed had. Selfishness had. I wasn't competing against Ryan. I had been competing against lies. As they walked away together, I stayed hidden until they disappeared. Then I looked up at the sky and took the deepest breath I had managed in days. I wasn't a failure, I whispered. I loved honestly. The marriage hadn't collapsed because I wasn't enough. It had collapsed because the woman I trusted had chosen deception over truth long before I ever came home early. For the first time since discovering the affair, I stopped asking what I had done wrong. Instead, I asked myself one simple question. What am I going to do next? The morning after I overheard Olivia in the park, I stopped asking myself whether I should save my marriage. Instead, I started asking how to protect my future. Daniel sent me one message. Meet Grace Mitchell. She'll help you think clearly. That afternoon, I walked into a quiet office. A woman stood and offered her hand. I'm Grace Mitchell. I'm Ethan Carter. Please have a seat. I sat across from her. Daniel had already shared a brief summary, but Grace still looked at me kindly. Tell me everything. So I did. I described the surprise I had planned. I described the cake, the kiss, the messages, the hidden payments. When I finished, Grace remained silent for a moment. Finally, she asked, Do you want revenge? I shook my head. I want fairness. She smiled slightly. That's a much better goal. What should I do? First, don't confront your wife. I wasn't planning to. Good. She opened a folder. Second, protect yourself before she knows you know. What does that mean? It means making legal decisions, not emotional ones. I nodded. Grace continued. Do you have copies of your financial records? Most of them. Get every document. Our house. Yes. Retirement accounts? Yes. Insurance policies? Everything. I wrote notes while she spoke. Don't hide assets. I won't. Don't destroy evidence. I won't. And don't lose your temper. I won't. She looked directly at me. The calm person usually wins. Those words stayed with me. Over the next 3 days, I followed every instruction. I downloaded bank statements. I copied tax records. I secured property documents inside a safe deposit box. I changed passwords connected only to my personal accounts. I opened a separate checking account for my future income. Every step felt strange. I wasn't preparing for a new investment. I was preparing to end the life I thought would last forever. That evening, Olivia greeted me with another warm smile. You're home early. I finished work sooner. Perfect. She kissed my cheek. I ordered your favorite pizza. Thanks. She sat beside me on the couch. I've been thinking. About what? We should take a vacation together. I almost laughed. Instead, I asked, where would you like to go? Anywhere. She smiled sweetly. I just want time with you. The lie came so easily. My phone vibrated. Daniel had sent one sentence. Grace finished drafting the first documents. I quietly locked my screen. Olivia leaned against my shoulder. Who's texting? Work. You're always busy. I know. She sighed dramatically. I missed the old US. So did I. But the woman beside me wasn't the wife I remembered. She was someone I no longer recognized. The following Saturday, she walked into the kitchen wearing sunglasses. I'm meeting friends. Oh, just a girls' weekend. I looked at her calmly. Have fun. She smiled. I love you. I answered without emotion. Drive safely. The moment she left, Daniel called. She's heading toward Ryan's apartment. I know. You want me to follow them? No. Really, I already know enough. Grace had been right. I didn't need more heartbreak. I needed preparation. On Monday, I returned to her office. She slid several papers across the desk. These are the divorce documents. I stared at them quietly. So this is real. It became real when your wife chose dishonesty. I slowly nodded. When should I serve them? Not yet. Why? Because we're still protecting your interests. She pointed to another file. We're almost finished. I signed several forms. Grace collected them carefully. You've handled this with remarkable patience. I didn't feel patient. You stayed calm. I cried. That doesn't make you weak. Her words surprised me. For weeks, I had measured strength by how well I hid my pain. Grace reminded me strength meant making wise choices despite that pain. That evening, Olivia returned home carrying shopping bags. You won't believe how relaxing the weekend was. I'm glad. You should have come. I wasn't invited. She laughed awkwardly. What? Nothing. She walked closer and hugged me. For a brief second, I remembered the woman I had fallen in love with. Then I remembered the park, the cafe, the messages, the laughter, the kiss. I gently stepped away. I'm tired. You should rest. I will. As I walked upstairs, I realized something had changed inside me. Every lie she told no longer broke my heart. Instead, every lie reminded me I was finally choosing myself instead of sacrificing everything for someone who had already stopped choosing me. The invitation arrived 3 days before our wedding anniversary. Olivia smiled as she handed it to me. I planned something special. I looked at the card. Our family and closest friends will be there. Sounds nice, I replied. She hugged me. I want everyone to celebrate us. I almost asked which version of us she meant, but I stayed silent. Grace had already finalized every document. Daniel knew the plan. All I had to do was wait. The evening finally arrived. Our dining room filled with laughter, music, and familiar faces. My parents came. Olivia's parents arrived smiling. Friends congratulated us. Ethan, you're a lucky man. I forced a polite smile. I used to think so. Nobody noticed the meaning behind my answer. Olivia looked beautiful in a white dress. She greeted everyone warmly. I'm so happy you could all come. People admired the decorations. Someone raised a glass. To many more happy years. Everyone cheered. I quietly sipped my drink. After dinner, Olivia tapped her glass with a spoon. I like to say a few words. The room became silent. She looked directly at me. Ethan has always supported me. Several guests smiled. She continued, he works harder than anyone I know. My mother wiped away a happy tear. Olivia reached for my hand. Marriage isn't always easy. Everyone nodded. But true love means staying loyal. Daniel lowered his eyes. It means standing beside each other. The applause began. It means trusting each other completely. More applause followed. I'll always be grateful for the husband standing beside me. The room erupted with clapping. I waited until the applause faded. Then I smiled politely. I'd like to say something too. Olivia looked relieved. Of course. I picked up my laptop from beneath the table. She frowned slightly. What are you doing? I brought a memory. Several guests laughed. Let's watch it. I connected the laptop to the television. The screen turned black. Then security footage appeared. The timestamp showed the afternoon I had returned home early. The front door opened. Everyone watched quietly. The camera showed me entering the hallway, carrying flowers. Then it showed Olivia standing beside Ryan. The cake reading Second Chance filled the screen. No one spoke. Ryan raised his glass. To us. Olivia answered. To us. Gasps echoed around the room. The recording continued. Ryan kissed her. She kissed him back. Someone dropped a fork. Olivia whispered, turn it off. I didn't move. The next part played. I never really stopped thinking about you. I tried. I stopped loving Ethan a long time ago. Silence swallowed the room. Olivia grabbed my arm. Ethan, please. I gently stepped away. It isn't finished. Ryan's voice filled the room again. When will you tell him? Soon. The video ended. Nobody clapped. Nobody moved. Ryan stood near the back door. His face had turned pale. He pointed at Olivia. She called me. Olivia stared at him. What are you doing? I'm not taking all the blame. She shouted. You promised. Ryan backed toward the exit. I never promised forever. Then he rushed outside without looking back. Daniel quietly muttered, coward. Nobody disagreed. Olivia burst into tears. She grabbed both my hands. Please listen. I remained calm. It isn't what it looks like. I asked softly, really? I made mistakes. You made choices. I still love you. I looked in her eyes. No, I do. You loved having my trust. She cried harder. We can fix this. I slowly reached into my jacket. She looked hopeful. Instead of embracing her, I placed a thick envelope into her trembling hands. She looked down. Her face lost all color. Divorce papers? Yes. She shook her head repeatedly. No, I've already signed them. You can't do this. I already have. Her mother whispered, Olivia, tell us this isn't true. Olivia couldn't answer. My father walked toward me. Son, I'm all right. He squeezed my shoulder. I'm proud of you. I nodded gratefully. Olivia reached for me one final time. Ethan, don't leave. I stepped back. I already lost my marriage the day I came home early. Without another word, I picked up my keys, walked past every shocked face, opened the front door, and left the house without looking back, knowing silence had spoken louder than anger ever could. The morning after the anniversary dinner, my phone refused to stay quiet. One message arrived after another. Friends, relatives, co-workers. Everyone had heard what happened. Most wrote the same thing. We're sorry. I appreciated every message, but I answered only a few. Around noon, my phone rang again. Olivia. I stared at her name before answering. What? She cried immediately. Please don't hang up. I'm listening. I made the biggest mistake of my life. I remained silent. Ethan, please say something. What do you want? I want my husband back. You lost him. No. Yes. I still love you. I closed my eyes. No, Olivia. I do. You regret your choices. That's because I love you. Those aren't the same thing. She sobbed harder. I'll do anything. It's too late. She whispered, please. I ended the call. 5 minutes later, another message appeared. I'm outside your office. I looked through the window. She stood beside the entrance wearing sunglasses, trying to hide her swollen eyes. Daniel walked into my office. She's waiting. I know. You going outside? Yes. He looked concerned. Wanting to come? No. I stepped outside. Olivia rushed toward me. Ethan. I stopped several feet away. You look tired. I haven't slept. I'm sorry to hear that. She wiped away tears. I've been calling Ryan. And he won't answer. I said nothing. She continued. He blocked my number. Still nothing. I went to his apartment. What happened? He moved out. I nodded slowly. She stared at me. Did you know? I suspected. She shook her head. He promised we'd build a future together. I remember. He lied. So did you. She lowered her eyes. I know. For several seconds, neither of us spoke. Finally, she whispered. Ryan only wanted the thrill. I answered quietly. I know. He never loved me. I know. I threw everything away. You did. She reached toward me. I was stupid. You were selfish. She flinched. I deserve that. Probably. I don't deserve another chance. I looked directly into her eyes. You had hundreds of chances. I can change. I believe people can change. Hope appeared on her face. But that doesn't erase what happened. Her shoulders dropped. I'll spend the rest of my life proving it. You don't need to prove it to me. Then who? Yourself. She began crying again. I miss us. I miss the woman I married. I am her. I slowly shook my head. No. She covered her face. I don't know who I became. I answered honestly. Neither do I. My phone vibrated. Grace had sent one message. The court accepted today's filing. The divorce process had officially begun. Olivia noticed my expression. What happened? I received confirmation. Her voice trembled. The divorce? Yes. She nearly collapsed. No. It has started. She grabbed my sleeve. Please stop it. I can't. You can. I won't. She looked completely defeated. I never thought you'd leave. I never thought you'd betray me. Those words ended the conversation. I walked back toward my office. She didn't follow. Later that evening, Daniel called. You hear about Ryan? What now? He quit his job. Really? Apparently people recognized him from the video. I sighed quietly. Where did he go? No one knows. He disappeared fast. Daniel laughed bitterly. Funny how brave he was until consequences arrived. He never wanted responsibility. Exactly. After hanging up, I sat alone in my apartment. The silence no longer felt empty. It felt peaceful. For weeks, I had wondered whether exposing the truth would destroy me. Instead, it had freed me. Olivia hadn't lost me because Ryan manipulated her. She lost me because she chose dishonesty again and again until there was nothing left worth saving. Her tears were real. Her regret was real. But neither could rebuild the trust she had destroyed. For the first time since my world collapsed, I understood that walking away from someone who keeps hurting me was not cruelty. It was finally an act of self-respect. 6 months passed before I realized an entire afternoon had gone by without thinking about Olivia. That surprised me. Healing hadn't happened overnight. It happened one ordinary day at a time. Every Tuesday, I met with my therapist. Every morning, I spent an hour at the gym. Every evening, I cooked dinner instead of ordering takeout. Slowly, my life stopped revolving around pain. One Saturday, Daniel appeared outside my apartment. You ready? For what? Breakfast. I'm not hungry. That's exactly why we're going. 20 minutes later, we sat inside a small neighborhood coffee shop. The place smelled like fresh bread and roasted coffee. Daniel looked around. I like this place. So do I. A cheerful voice interrupted us. Good morning. I looked up. A woman smiled while holding 2 menus. I'm Emma. I'm Ethan. And I'm Daniel. She laughed. I'll remember both names. Daniel grinned. I'll have pancakes. Emma wrote it down. And you? I answered coffee and toast. She smiled. Simple. I'm learning to keep things simple. I like that. After she walked away, Daniel nudged my shoulder. What? You smiled. So, you haven't smiled like that in months. I smiled because she was friendly. Sure. I rolled my eyes. Eat your breakfast. Over the next few weeks, I returned to the same coffee shop almost every morning. Emma always greeted me with the same warm smile. Morning, Ethan. Morning. The usual? You already remember? She laughed. You're easy. One morning, she placed my coffee on the table. You look happier. I feel happier. That's good. It took time. The best things usually do. Our conversation stayed simple. Books, music, weather, travel. Neither of us rushed anything. One rainy morning, she noticed the notebook beside my coffee. You write. Sometimes. What about life? She smiled. That's a big topic. It keeps giving me material. She laughed softly. I'd like to read it someday. Maybe. No pressure. I appreciate that. Weeks became months. One afternoon, she joined me during her break. Can I ask something? Of course. Were you always this quiet? No. What changed? I thought carefully. I spent too much time trying to become the person someone else wanted. And now I'm figuring out who I actually am. She nodded. That sounds healthier. It feels healthier. She looked at me kindly. You don't owe anyone a performance. Those words stayed with me all day. Later that evening, Daniel called. So what? Are you finally living again? I think I am. What changed? I stopped trying to erase my past. And I started building a future. He laughed. That's the Ethan I remember. One weekend, Emma invited me to a community book fair. You don't have to come. I'd like to, if you're busy. I'm not. She smiled. Good. We spent hours walking between small book stands. No drama. No lies. No pretending. Just quiet conversations. As the sun began setting, we sat on a park bench. Emma looked toward the lake. Can I ask one more question? You already did. She laughed. True. Go ahead. What scares you now? I answered honestly. Becoming someone who accepts less than I deserve. She looked at me for several seconds. Then don't. I won't. She smiled. I believe you. For the first time in years, I believe myself too. I finally understood that healing wasn't about forgetting betrayal. It wasn't about making someone else suffer. It wasn't even about proving I had moved on. Healing happened when I stopped measuring my worth through another person's choices. As I walked home beside Emma that evening, I realized peace had quietly replaced anger. And unlike revenge, peace never asked me to sacrifice who I was becoming. Rain tapped softly against the coffee shop windows while I sat reading another chapter from my notebook. Emma placed a warm cup beside me. The usual. Thank you. She smiled. You look peaceful today. I finally feel peaceful. I can see that. Before I could answer again, the front door opened. A cold breeze entered with someone standing beneath a wet umbrella. I looked up. Olivia. She looked thinner than I remembered. Dark circles surrounded her eyes. Her confident smile had disappeared. She spotted me immediately. Ethan. Emma quietly looked between us. I'll give you a few minutes. You don't have to. It's okay. She gently touched my shoulder before walking toward the counter. Olivia slowly approached my table. May I sit down? If you want. She lowered herself into the chair across from me. For several seconds, neither of us spoke. Finally, she whispered, You look well. I've been taking care of myself. I'm glad. I waited. She looked down at her hands. I owe you an apology. You already apologized. Not like this. I remained silent. She took a deep breath. I blamed everyone except myself. Another pause followed, but everything that happened was my fault. I nodded once. She continued. Ryan left. I heard. He met someone else. I'm sorry. She laughed bitterly. Funny. What? You still show kindness. I don't enjoy watching people suffer. She wiped away a tear. He told me I wasn't exciting anymore. I said nothing. He packed his things and disappeared. Again, I stayed quiet. My coworkers found out about everything. I'm aware. They stopped trusting me. She looked around the coffee shop before continuing. I lost my promotion. Another tear rolled down her cheek. Then I lost my job. I'm sorry. I deserve it. I didn't argue. She looked directly at me. I spent months asking why all this happened. And then I finally understood. I waited. I destroyed the only honest relationship I ever had. Her voice broke. I traded loyalty for excitement. Neither of us spoke. Rain continued tapping against the windows. Finally, she whispered, Can we start over? I looked into her eyes. For months, I had imagined this conversation. I expected anger. I expected satisfaction. Instead, I felt neither. Only calm. I answered gently, I forgive you. Hope immediately appeared across her face. You do? Yes. She smiled through tears. Then maybe someday. I quietly interrupted. Forgiveness isn't the same as rebuilding trust. Her smile disappeared. I've changed. I believe you. Then why not try again? Because trust grows slowly. She nodded weakly. And betrayal destroys it quickly. More tears followed. I wish I had understood that sooner. So do I. She reached across the table, but stopped before touching my hand. I never stopped loving the man you were. I answered honestly. I'm not that man anymore. She lowered her hand. I know. At that moment, Emma returned carrying her apron. My shift is over. I smiled. Ready to go? She noticed Olivia's tears. I can wait outside. No, I replied. It's all right. I stood up. Olivia slowly rose as well. This is goodbye, isn't it? I nodded. I think it should be. She closed her eyes briefly. I hope you're happy. I am. She smiled sadly. You deserve that. So do you. She looked surprised. Even after everything, I don't want you to suffer forever. I'll carry this regret forever. Maybe. She nodded. I earned it. I picked up my jacket. Emma stood quietly beside me. Olivia whispered one final sentence. I'm truly sorry. I answered with complete honesty. I know. Emma and I walked toward the door together. The rain had almost stopped. As we stepped outside, Emma slipped her hand into mine. Neither of us looked back. For the first time, leaving someone behind didn't feel like losing part of myself. It felt like protecting the life I had finally rebuilt. Karma had already finished its work. I didn't need revenge. I only needed the courage to keep walking toward the future waiting beside me. The invitation arrived 3 days before our wedding anniversary. Olivia smiled as she handed it to me. I planned something special. I looked at the card. Our family and closest friends will be there. Sounds nice, I replied. She hugged me. I want everyone to celebrate us. I almost asked which version of us she meant, but I stayed silent. Grace had already finalized every document. Daniel knew the plan. All I had to do was wait. The evening finally arrived. Our dining room filled with laughter, music, and familiar faces. My parents came. Olivia's parents arrived smiling. Friends congratulated us. Ethan, you're a lucky man. I forced a polite smile. I used to think so. Nobody noticed the meaning behind my answer. Olivia looked beautiful in a white dress. She greeted everyone warmly. I'm so happy you could all come. People admired the decorations. Someone raised a glass. To many more happy years. Everyone cheered. I quietly sipped my drink. After dinner, Olivia tapped her glass with a spoon. I like to say a few words. The room became silent. She looked directly at me. Ethan has always supported me. Several guests smiled. She continued. He works harder than anyone I know. My mother wiped away a happy tear. Olivia reached for my hand. Marriage isn't always easy. Everyone nodded. But true love means staying loyal. Daniel lowered his eyes. It means standing beside each other. The applause began. It means trusting each other completely. More applause followed. I'll always be grateful for the husband standing beside me. The room erupted with clapping. I waited until the applause faded. Then I smiled politely. I like to say something too. Olivia looked relieved. Of course. I picked up my laptop from beneath the table. She frowned slightly. What are you doing? I brought a memory. Several guests laughed. Let's watch it. I connected the laptop to the television. The screen turned black. Then security footage appeared. The timestamp showed the afternoon I had returned home early. The front door opened. Everyone watched quietly. The camera showed me entering the hallway, carrying flowers. Then it showed Olivia standing beside Ryan. The cake reading Second Chance filled the screen. No one spoke. Ryan raised his glass. To us. Olivia answered. To us. Gasps echoed around the room. The recording continued. Ryan kissed her. She kissed him back. Someone dropped a fork. Olivia whispered, turn it off. I didn't move. The next part played. I never really stopped thinking about you. I tried. I stopped loving Ethan a long time ago. Silence swallowed the room. Olivia grabbed my arm. Ethan, please. I gently stepped away. It isn't finished. Ryan's voice filled the room again. When will you tell him? Soon. The video ended. Nobody clapped. Nobody moved. Ryan stood near the back door. His face had turned pale. He pointed at Olivia. She called me. Olivia stared at him. What are you doing? I'm not taking all the blame. She shouted. You promised. Ryan backed toward the exit. I never promised forever. Then he rushed outside without looking back. Daniel quietly muttered, coward. Nobody disagreed. Olivia burst into tears. She grabbed both my hands. Please listen. I remained calm. It isn't what it looks like. I asked softly, really? I made mistakes. You made choices. I still love you. I looked in her eyes. No, I do. You loved having my trust. She cried harder. We can fix this. I slowly reached into my jacket. She looked hopeful. Instead of embracing her, I placed a thick envelope into her trembling hands. She looked down. Her face lost all color. Divorce papers? Yes. She shook her head repeatedly. No, I've already signed them. You can't do this. I already have. Her mother whispered, Olivia, tell us this isn't true. Olivia couldn't answer. My father walked toward me. Son, I'm all right. He squeezed my shoulder. I'm proud of you. I nodded gratefully. Olivia reached for me one final time. Ethan, don't leave. I stepped back. I already lost my marriage the day I came home early.